Hi, everybody. I'm going to go ahead and jump back a little bit and go back to the percent word problems. This is percent, section D, and I don't think I've done percent word problems. So I'm going to go ahead and grab those and take a look at them. Hopefully I won't need the calculator, but I'll keep it handy just in case. Victor's Diner sold 10 milkshakes. One of them had whipped cream on top. What is the percentage? So when you're talking about percent, the big thing that you want to keep in mind is that this symbol was actually written like this originally. Percent literally means per hundred. So what they're really asking you to do is change a fraction to a hundredth. This means also hundredth is another way, sorry, DTH. Hundredth means the same thing. In this case, we have 1/10. And the question is, what hundredth is that? And in order to make that change, I just multiply by 10 over 10. And of course, I'm talking about 10%. This literally is read 10 per hundred. But like I said, this symbol was eventually written like this. So this means 10%. By the way, hundredth means per hundred. Percent means divided by 100. All the same thing. This is, write your answer using a percent symbol. So this is 10 per 100. Now I went into a little more detail than I probably should have. It says 80% of the 20 beads are blue. How many blue beads are there? So when you say 80%, you mean 80%, 80 over 100. You could also write that as 8 over 10 or 4 over 5 or 0.8. All of these things are absolutely equivalent. And we want of, when we say of, we mean multiply when we're talking about a fraction or a percent. So I'm going to take 0.8 times 20. Or you can think of it as 8 over 10 times 20. There's lots of ways of thinking about it. This happens to be 16. This is also 16, of course. Lots of ways to go. You can simplify the 10 with the 20 and make it 2. Lots of ways of thinking about it, but it's 16 beads, of course. Let's see, 10th graders. It says 10 sixth graders were picked the museum. If there were 40 sixth graders in Betty's school, what percentage of sixth graders? So we want to know, what is the percentage of sixth graders out of the 40? And 10 out of the 40 is equal to 1/4. I hope everybody recognizes a quarter as 25 cents. By the way, 1/4, some people have heard this read this way. Most of you are aware that this is 25 cents. Some of you have seen this written like this. This symbol was originally written like this. Bet you didn't know that. Basically, this is a simplified version of that. So they want 25 cents written as 25%, same thing. 1/4, 1/4, 25 cents. Lots of connections going on there. It says a restaurant serves 49 specials in all, and it says 2 dinner specials were salmon, filet, and steak. If they served 49 specials in all, 100% of which were salmon fillets, how many salmon fillets did the restaurant serve? Well, 49 out of 49. Well, yeah, if 100% of them were salmon fillets, then of course there's 49 of them, all of them. Another way of saying 100% is all, because we're talking about 100 out of 100, which is the same as, of course, 49 out of 49. Okay, they want me to use the percent symbol, and they're asking for 32 out of 64. And hopefully you recognize this as 1/2. I'm just dividing by 32 in the numerator and denominator, and it's 50%, of course. This is 50 cents, but of course that means the same as 50%. All right, 36 were in favor and 4 were opposed. Okay, this one's a little more tricky. Voted whether or not to put the science fair project in groups. Of the votes received, 36 were in favor and 4 were opposed. Now, what's important is that you need to understand that the denominator has to be the total. And what percentage of the votes were in favor? So it was 36 out of the 40. And you do have to add them together to get the total number of votes, assuming that there were no abstainers or whatever. And 36 over 40, we can reduce by dividing by 4, which is 9 over 10. And I hope you all recognize that as the same as 90 over 100, or 90%. And we're supposed to use the percent symbol. What percentage of the cans were collected by Victor? Well, Victor collected 60, but we have to add up all the other cans to know what percentage it is. Well, you have to do a sum here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the count up system for this. Now, you could just grab a calculator and add them on the calculator, but I'm going to go ahead and write them out. And I'm going to write them over here so you can see it a little bit better. 39, 85, and 60. Now remember, the 60 has to be added as part of the total because we want the total number of cans. Now I'm going to go ahead and do what I call the counting up. And there's some other things I would do to simplify this and make it faster. But I'm going to go ahead and count up. So I'm going to watch what I do. I'm going to take 7, and adding 9 gives me 16. Plus 9 makes 25, and that makes 30. Did you see what I did? Okay, now I'm going to go backwards just so you can see it. 5, 14, 23, 30. What I'm doing is I'm counting up and practicing. Another way of thinking about this is that you've got 9 and 9 is 18, and 12 makes 30. That's another way of thinking of it. Anyway, I'm going to count up again. This is 3 and 7 makes 10, 13, 16, 24, 30. Now watch what I did. I'll count up, this time I'll count up from the bottom up. 6, 14, 17, 27, 30. And hopefully you can see me point at each one as I counted. This is a way of adding very, very rapidly. You can add pretty quickly that way. What you don't want to do is you don't want to count on your fingers, of course. Now this is 60 out of 300. And that can be reduced to 1/5. If you need to do it a little slower, you could say, oh, I could take out the 10, divide by 10, that gives you 6 over 30. And then that's a little clearer that it's 1/5. Now, 1/5, of course, is 20%. Lots of ways of thinking about it. Probably the fastest way to do this is to reduce this to hundredths. So 60 over 300. If I want to change it to hundredths, of course, I'm dividing by 3. And when I divide by 3, I get 20 hundredths, just 20%. Hopefully, I'm not getting you too bored and you're getting a little extra, probably more than you want. A team of students lined up dominoes. Of the 425, I assume that's the total, 323 fell over. What percentage fell over? Now be careful. Sometimes they'll ask you for the ones that didn't. In this particular case, we have 323 over 425. Now we do need to do some reducing here, if at all possible. I don't see any really nice, easy numbers that go in there. Maybe 11, not really. I'm going to go ahead and grab the calculator for this particular case. Uh, it should be divisible if, well, let's take a look and see what we get. 323. Sorry guys, I'm not seeing the common factor yet. Oh, it's 76%. 76 over 100. Interesting. I didn't see the really easy divisor for the 323. Sorry, guys. I should be able to see it, but I just can't seem to get it in my head. It is 76 over 100. What I got when I did the calculator was 0.76, which is 76 hundredths. So it's 76%. I did use the calculator. I normally wouldn't do that, but I just didn't see the easy number there. 4 out of 50 were first-year teachers. What percentage in the meeting were first-year teachers? So we're changing this to hundredths. If you want 50ths to hundredths, you just multiply by 2. So 8%. Hopefully that helps. I'm gonna go a little faster now. I'm sure you really want to get this done. All right. What percentage of prizes were flying discs or model airplanes? So we need to add up both the model airplanes, which was 200, and the flying discs, which were 700. So or means that it could have been either one. So that means we have 900 total for either one out of a total of 1,500, because it says that the other, was 600, yeah. So we have a total of 1,500, and that's out of 1,500. And the whole idea is that we want to get this reduced down a bit. Well, let's see. We've got 9 over 15. And notice I just divided by 100. 9 over 15 is the same as 3 over 5, isn't it? We just divide by 3. Now, I didn't see immediately how to divide that. I could have divided 15 into 90 and 15 into 1,500. Sorry, 15 into 900. But I think that it would be clearer to just go down to the lowest terms and then just say, to change 3/5, I have to multiply by 20. 3 over 5, I want to know hundredths. Remember, that's percent. So I'm multiplying by 20, which gives me the 60%. There's a faster way, of course, and that is to just grab your calculator and type it in, and you're going to get 0.6, which is 60%. Let's see if we can simplify this one down for you. Okay, let's do total before we do anything else. It says, a law firm, how many hours were billed by each partner last year? Okay, what percent of the total hours were billed by Charlotte or Tisha? So we have to add them together, because Charlotte and Tisha each did 800, that's 1,600. Now the total happens to be 2,500, isn't it? If you didn't see what I did, I just added the 900 to that. I took the 1,600 plus the 900, and I got the 2,500 total. Now, I could divide this by 25, but there's a much easier way to do it, for me anyway, and that is to divide by 100. And I have 16 over 25. And I love 25ths because all I have to do is change them to hundredths by multiplying by 4. And hopefully you know 16 times 4 is 64. That is 64%. A lot of you are going to grab your calculator, and I think it's a bad idea in most cases. I know in my silly example, I didn't quite get it, but there you have it, 64%. Okay, what percent of the votes were for ice cream? So we want the total number of votes, and I'm going to go ahead and do my counting up again. There's other tricks for adding quickly. Now, I normally would have just added them in place, but I want to show you what I'm doing. I'm adding the 0, and then I have 6, 7, 10, and that's 4, 5, and 5. So I have 1,000 total. So there's 1,000 total votes, and we want to know how many were for ice cream. That's 340, but notice that that's 34 over 100. Hopefully I'm not going too slow for you. What percentage of students in applied majors? These are applied majors. Altogether, we've got 750, huh? That's the total number. And it says what percentage we're majoring in electronics. So we're talking about 90 out of 750, and we're supposed to find it as a percent. Yep, that's 250, and yep. Well, that's 9 over 75. Now, again, that's going to be hard to convert to a percent because I want to change it to hundredths. But notice that I can divide by 3, can I? And that's going to be 3 over 25. And I hope you guys know what to do next. You're just going to multiply by 4 over 4. That'll turn it into hundredths. And what do you get? You multiply by 4 because 4 is going to make that 25 into the 100, and 3 times 4 is the 12%. Satisfying when it does the glink, right? Out of 125 votes, 30 were in favor of the new speed limit. What percentage were in favor of the new speed limit? Now, keep in mind, they may ask sometimes to do the other side, but in this case, they were asking the 30 out of 125. Now, in order to simplify this, I'm going to divide by 5. Now, there's a reason I want to get it in 25ths. When I divide by 5, I get 6 out of 25, and that's easy. That's 24 over 100. I hope it's clear why I did what I did. I knew that I could easily divide by 5, and then I knew I could easily multiply by 4. But there are other ways to go, and of course, a lot of people are just going to simply grab their calculator every time. I don't recommend that. There's a lot of reasons, but mainly I want to play with numbers, and the more you play with them, the better you get at it. What percent of cans were collected by Edwin or Akira? So Edwin and Akira are going to be a huge part of the percentage, aren't they? Now, there's a way I could do this in my head and find the percentage more easily, but I'm going to go ahead and add them up. That's 80 and 80 and 10. So we have 80 and 80, 160 and 10 makes 170, doesn't it? And we want to know what is 160 over 170. Now, it says we want to round it to the nearest percent. Now, for this particular case, we're talking about 16 over 17, but that's not a real nice, easy number. And we're supposed to round it off to the nearest percent and put it in as a percent. So a calculator is okay in this case. 16 divided by 17 is going to be 0.9411. Notice I put the approximately equal because I'm not going to write down all the decimal places. It's actually rounds 1, 7, 6, 4, 7, and so on. And it's still approximate because I'm assuming that 17 continues. But the thing that's important is that we round it to 0.94 or 94%. Hopefully that's clear. Come on, go up. There we go. 94. And we're supposed to write it with the percent symbol. Okay, let's see what's next. Okay, says we're counting the coins. Now this time I'm just going to go ahead and add them in my head. And I want you to notice that I get 20 and carry the 2, and I have 12, 15. That's 150. Now, the way I did it is I did the 2 and the 8 makes 10, and the 1 and the 9 makes 10, which add up to 20. Then I took the 2, and I took the 6 and the 4 is 10, plus 2 is 12, 13, 14, 15. Lots of ways to go for that. Anyway, we're out of 150, and we want to know what percentage were gold, which is 18. And 18 out of 150, I'm going to go ahead and divide by 3, and turn it into 50ths. So I'm dividing by 3. Now I didn't have to do this. I could have done it more directly, but I think that this is easier. 6 out of 50 is 12%, isn't it? I want to keep in mind of playing with the numbers, because the more you see them, the more you start understanding them. That's 12%. Okay, what do we got here? Greece or Spain. So Greece is at 5,000 and Spain is at 8,000. And that's a total of 13,000. Well, I want the totals for everybody, so I want everybody else too. Okay, so yeah, we're going to take 13 out of the total. Now, if I add Turkey, which is at 8, Italy and California are each 6, so we have a total of 20 plus the 13 makes 33. So I'm talking about 13 out of 33. I can tell you already that it's really close to 39, because if I multiply this by 3 and 3, I'm going to get 39 out of 99. And that happens to be 0.3939393939. If I were to write this as a decimal, it's any number that's over nines, like 99, or any number over 9 repeats. So 39 over 99 is 0.39 repeating, and it just keeps repeating itself. Now, when I round that, I'm going to get 39%. There we go. Notice that I didn't put the thousands on there, just to make it easier for myself, because I knew everything was in terms of thousands. All right, let's see. Grayson ordered a set of beads. He received 245 brown, 630 were a different color. What percentage of the beads were brown? Well, 245 is not out of 630. Be careful. It's out of the total number of beads. Keep in mind, we always take, to find a percentage, we take the number of brown, for example, over the total number. And the total number is not 630. It happens to be 875, isn't it? See that? Now, yes, I could do the reducing by dividing by 5 and then probably find my percentage that way. They're telling me already that I'm not going to have to round it. I could do it. I don't think so. Well, it's 49 and this one is 175. Man, that just does not look good. Divide by 7 and we get 25. Divide by 7 and we get 7. And then when we multiply by 4, we get 2800ths. Like I said, you don't always have to grab a calculator, but in this particular case, I'm going to go ahead and do it. 245 divided by 875 is 0.28, of course, 0.28, which is 28%. Very hard to explain to you where I got these numbers, because I was doing the division by 5 in my head using a trick. It's a really tough trick, so I'm just going to go ahead and put it in for you. 28%. Maybe with another one, I'll teach you that trick. I was using the double and half method in reverse. Okay, so 525 students, 84% are taking Spanish. How many students are taking Spanish? So of the students, well, the students is 525. So we're going to take 84% of 525. Now, if you didn't happen to have a calculator, what you would do is you'd cancel the 100, the 25, and you'd get a 4 down here like this, and then you'd put the 25 into here, and you'd get 21. And then you would cancel the 4 with the 84 and get 21, and 21 squared is 441. So there's 441 students. You probably wouldn't want to do that. You would probably rather just grab your calculator and do 0.84, which is 84%, times 525. Let's go ahead and do that. And you get 441. Either way, it doesn't make any difference. Works either way. There we are, 441. The reason I like to not use a calculator is, for the challenge of it, but also for the fun of mentally juggling the numbers. It's a little bit satisfying when you find the connections, and they help you see more difficult connections later. Liza City took a survey of a plan for the new park. Of the people surveyed, 14,835 liked it and 6,665 did not. What percentage liked the plan? So it's 14,835 over the 20,000. Let's see, it's going to be, I'll just write it 0, 0, carry the 1, 5, carry the 1, and 21, I believe, 500. But I'm going to go ahead and I could do the division, but I'm not going to do this one. I'm going to use the 14,835 plus 6,665, 21,500, yeah. And we are going to take 14,835 divided by 2,1,500, 69%. Well, it's exact, 0.69. That is 69%. And I am spending too long on this, so I'm going to go ahead and get this guy done. Let's see here. What percent preferred surfing the internet? That's 4,700. And remember, we have to add them all together to get the total. That is going to be 10,500. And yeah, I could it says the nearest percent. So I'm definitely going to use my division, but I am going to simplify this a little bit. I'm going to say it's 47 over 105, which means that I'm going to be a little less than 47. It's probably about 45%, 46%. Let's take a look. 47 divided by 105. 45% is the round. It's 0.44761 and so on. Let me just make sure I didn't do a silly thing here. 4,700 plus 800, of course, gives you 10,500 for the total. Yeah, it's correct. So 45%. And I'm going way too slow, and I'm sure you haven't stuck with me this long. But I'll do them all anyway. 783 students voted for brown, and the other 117 voted for purple. What percentage voted for brown? Well, you have to add these together. That is going to be out of 900, and there were 783, and this is divisible. We're just going to divide by 9. That's all I have to do. Divide by 9 and divide by 9. And that happens to be 87 over 100, which is 87%. That is out of 900, yeah. I trust myself, but it's always good to double check your work. 783 plus 117 is indeed 900. And when you take 783 divided by 900, you do get the 87%. Oh my goodness, I'm spending way too long on this. Okay, what percent was done by Alec or Jenna? So the total for those two is going to be 1470. And the total amount for everybody driving is going to be what? Let's see, it's 14, 18, 1940. Is that right? And we are going to round it. I'm just going to double check everything. I could add them up on the side, but I'm just going to go ahead and use my calculator. 470 plus 480 plus the 990 is 1940. And we're taking 1470 divided by 1940. 75 point, which is approximately 0.75773. So 76%. Oh my goodness, it's taking forever today. Okay, 195 first graders and 305 others. What percentage were first graders? 195, and the total number is going to be out of 500, isn't it? Yep, that's 500. And notice that if I divide by 5, I get 39 hundredths. And that's 39%. Dividing by 5 gives you 39, sure enough. Oh no, I almost forgot to put the percent, didn't I? All right, it said to use the percent symbol and I didn't do it. All right, yesterday there were 50 problems assigned for math homework. Vicky got 3 out of the 5 problems, 50 problems correct. What percentage did she get correct? Well, 6%. 3 out of 50, and I definitely would have thought that would be the one she got wrong. That is going to be 6 out of 100, which is 6%. The problem with these questions is that they're generated somewhat randomly. So sometimes she's going to get a really good grade and sometimes not so good. Not so good in that case. All right, let's see what we got here. 39 large and 936 small. What percentage of the buttons were large? You're going to be very tempted to put the 39 out of the 936. But remember, we want to know 39 out of the total number, which is going to be 975. So I'm going to go ahead and use my calculator. Oh, I saw it already, but that's okay. 39 divided by 975. I want to hurry up. That is 0.04. 0.04. That very easy to make a mistake. That is 4%, guys. Does that sound reasonable? A very small percentage, isn't it? And maybe 2 more. 18 out of 100. What percent of the members voted? Well, it says 18 out of 100 voted, so that's 18%. Well, they kind of made that one easy, didn't they? And one last one, finally. My goodness, it took forever. Okay. 875 houses were not for sale. What percentage of houses were for sale? Now be careful. This is the last question, but it's a tough one. Now it says, what percentage of houses in Kendallstown were for sale last summer? So there were 5,375 that were for sale and 875 that were not. So we have to add the 875 to it, which is going to give us 6,250, I believe. But I'm just going to go ahead and double check it, especially since I'm at 99%. Plus 375, 6,250. And we want to do our division and get our decimal. D3, 75 divided by 6,250, 86%. It is exactly equal to 86%. And I hope you guys will do your, go all the way to mastery and get your 100%. And I'll see you back again. Bye-bye.